of Northeast on YouTube.
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.
Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed news channel of Northeast on YouTube.
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.
Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast.
Hello and welcome to Afternoon Headlines. I'm Ronak and we start the bulletin with the big updates from the Tripura by-elections. The BJP has won one seat and is leading in two others in the Tripura by-polls, while the Congress has won one seat. Chief Minister Manik Saha has won from the town Bordwali seat against rival from Congress, Ashish Kumar Saha. After 8 rounds of counting, Chief Minister Manik Saha has garnered a total of 17,181 votes and has won by a sizable margin of 6,104 votes. Meanwhile, we also have Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman, who has won from the 6th Agartala seat. After 8 rounds, Sudeep Roy Burman has won by 3,163 votes against nearest rival BJP's Dr. Ashok Sinha. BJP candidates, meanwhile, also leading from the Jubaraj Nagar and Surma seats. BJP's Swapna Das Paul is leading from the Surma seat, while BJP's Malina Debnath is leading from Jubaraj Nagar against nearest rival Sailendra Chandranath of the CPIM. So, viewers, the big development, the big update rather, coming in from counting day of the Tripura by polls. The BJP and the Congress both have scored one victory each, while the Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman has now emerged victorious from the 6th Agartala seat. BJP's Manik Saha, the incumbent chief minister, has won from the town Bordwali seat. Meanwhile, the BJP is also holding on to comfortable leads from the two other assembly seats of Jubaraj Nagar and Surma. And both of these seats, the BJP candidates are holding on to comfortable leads after the end of the 4th round of counting. All right, we are getting fresh reactions coming in from a victorious Manik Saha. Let's listen in.
Very fine. It was expected, but the margin, I thought that it would be too much. But you have seen the hand gloves with the CPM, with Congress. We have seen in this fray. So in everywhere they have done it. So even though they could not fulfill their dream, so ultimately we have won.
One Congress candidate has
One has won. No, in democracy, तो okay. It is expected. I congratulate him. But the problem is we have to calculate how it has happened. because out of 4 seats we have won in 3 seats, but in 1 seats we have lost. But neck to neck fight was there, so we have to see why it had happened. But apparently, what I have seen, that there is some understanding between the Congress and CPIM, and they have transferred their votes to the Congress. That is clear. That is the reason. That is the reason.
Sir, what will be your main aim this time? Only 7 months, 8 months left.
No, for development, no. I have to work hard, that I can tell you. Now let's the tree is known by its fruits.
You have to give the result.
Yeah, I will try my best. অনুভূতি তো একই আছে, কোনো এরকম এক্সেপশনাল কিছু ফিল করছি না। আমি সবসময় কাম এন্ড কোয়াইট থাকি। তবে আমি সর্বপ্রথম আমার ৮ বর্দোয়ালির যারা আমাকে নির্বাচিত করেছে সবাইকে, আমি নির্বাচক মণ্ডলীকে আমি ধন্যবাদ জ্ঞাপন করছি। নতজানু হয়ে ওনাদেরকে আমি আমার তরফ থেকে ওনাদের প্রণাম জানাচ্ছি। এবং শুধু আমার কেন্দ্রে না, বাকি যেসব কেন্দ্রে আমাদের ইভেন্ট হয় আগরতলা বা আরো বাকি যে দুটো সব কেন্দ্রে যারা ভারতীয় জনতা পার্টিকে সাপোর্ট করেছেন ওনাদেরকে অবশ্যই আমি ধন্যবাদ দেব। এবং আমাদের যশস্বী প্রধানমন্ত্রী নরেন্দ্র মোদীজির প্রতি যে ওনাদের বিশ্বাস আছে তার জন্য অবশ্যই ওনাদেরকে আমি ধন্যবাদ দেব।
Yes, viewers, these are very, very interesting visuals that you see on your screens. Both rival candidates, both belonging to rival camps, BJP and Congress. Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman and also the BJP's Manik Saha, both congratulating each other. A moment of a true sportsmanship, if I may say so myself, between these two veteran leaders of Tripura politics. One, of course, is the BJP's Manik Saha, and on the other hand, we have Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman. Both being victorious from their respective seats, congratulating each other in the presence of a huge media presence. Both leaders congratulating each other on this big victory in the Tripura by-polls. All right, and to bring us more details, I'm being joined now over the phone line by our news editor, Nabrun Goswami. Nabrun, these are very unique visuals that we see on your screens. The two leaders are both belonging to rival camps. However, true sportsmanship on display here as both victorious candidates now shaking hands and all smiles after their victory from their respective seats.
Absolutely, Ronak. Great visuals there. But of course, the parties have started trading charges at each other right after the results. The breaking news at this moment is that the BJP has also won the Juvaraj Nagar seat. Ronak, Malina Devnath of the BJP has secured a total of 18,769 votes against her rival from CPIM, Shailendra Chandranath, who secured 14,197 votes. So, Malina Devnath has won by over 4,000 votes. That's a big victory for the BJP, considering that Juvaraj Nagar has been a bastion of the left. So, three out of four. In 3 out of 4 seats, the results are out. We are just waiting for the results of the Surma seat right now, where also the BJP candidate is leading, Ronak. But again, very significant is by-polls. We have Manik Saha, the CM, the Chief Minister, was making his by-poll debut. We just heard him speaking exclusively to Northeast Live, saying yes, the victory was an expected line. But definitely he was expecting the victory margin to be bigger.
Right.
And of course, the very significant win is also that of Sudeep Roy Burman, who joined the Congress, fought against all odds and has emerged victorious. Sudeep Roy Burman has termed it as the victory of the Congress in the state. But as I had mentioned earlier, this victory may not be a validation for the Congress as such, but definitely for Sudeep Roy Burman as a candidate. Sudeep Roy Burman has been winning the 6 Agartala seat, traditionally his seat, and the people of the constituency have decided to back him once again. That definitely makes him and keeps him as a potential force in the run-up to the very crucial assembly polls in Agartala in 2023, and definitely also keeps the Congress in the run in trade. Of course, it will be very disappointing for the CPIM. This by-polls, Ronak, couldn't hold on to the Juvaraj Nagar seat as well, where they had a good chance. So
Absolutely.
yes, it's a big setback for the CPIM, but overall, overall, even the BJP can be satisfied despite not winning the 6 Agartala seats. It was always difficult. It was always difficult against a leader of Sudeep Roy Burman's stature as far as the 6 Agartala constituency is concerned. Of course, Dr. Ashok Sinha was a close aide and confidant of Sudeep Roy Burman himself. They have fought polls together. They have assisted each other. Ashok Sinha has been campaigning for Sudeep Roy Burman in the previous elections, but this time they had turned rivals. Of course, one contesting from the BJP, the other from the Congress. So it was always difficult. It was always a difficult battle, this one, for the BJP. But still, I would think Dr. Ashok Sinha has not fared too badly. If we check the numbers, of course, he garnered 14,268 votes against 17,431 of Sudeep Roy Burman. Not much between the difference of 3,000 votes, yes, but it has not been a comprehensive sweeping win for Sudeep Roy Burman, considering the fact that this has been his bastion, his constituency. So the BJP should be too disappointed with that. There's always scope for improvement, but definitely the results have made the run-up to the polls very, very interesting run-up. Another factor that we see from the figures, if we look at the TMC's numbers, the Trinamool Congress, it's not encouraging at all. If we talk about, say, the Yuvraj Nagar seat, the TMC candidate Mrinal Kanti Devnath has managed to garner mere 1,080 votes. If we look at some of the other constituencies, let's take 8 Town Bordoli. If we see, the TMC candidate has not been able to manage even 1,000 votes. If we look at 6 Agartala seats, Ronak, again, the TMC candidate has not been able to garner even 1,000 votes. So clearly, the TMC nowhere in the fray. If we talk about the 4 seats which have gone to the by-polls, clearly the TMC would need a lot of pondering, rethinking to do as far as Tripura is concerned. Of course, we cannot read too much as far as the Tripura Mota is concerned. They are contesting from Surma if to wait. But definitely, this is not Tripura Mota's western elections. Tripura Mota's stronghold is, of course, the ADC areas, the tribal areas. So you cannot really gain much from this result. But as far as the TMC is concerned, they really, really need to rethink, gear up, re-strategize. But definitely overall, we can still call, despite BJP not winning the 6 Agartala seat, we can still term this as a validation of Chief Minister Manik Saha being sworn in as the CM, of Manik Saha being sworn in as CM. He himself has won by a sizable margin, and of course the BJP winning the Yuvraj Nagar seat and clearly poised to win the Surma seat. Ronak.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Navran, because I want to talk to you about Manik Saha for a moment here. You know, there was a lot riding on the man's shoulders, isn't it? Incumbent Chief Minister very recently having been appointed as the Chief Minister. And on top of that, making his assembly election debut in this by-elections. So he must be a man who is heaving a very big sigh of relief at this point in time, isn't it?
Yes, and not just the entire BJP camp would be heaving a sigh of relief, Ronald, definitely. But then again, I can say this was an expected line. Say, even though Ashish Saha has been the sitting MLA, the Congress candidate has been the sitting MLA, he won by a record margin of 11,000 votes in the last election. But despite that, you have to understand that Manik Saha is a chief minister. He's a chief minister who is contesting, despite this being his debut post here, the advantage of being the chief minister. Secondly, it's a by-poll. The BJP is in power. The Congress has been nowhere in fray as far as Tripura is concerned. Of course, Sudeep Roy Burman winning comes with a big boost to the party, which has become nearly non-existent as far as Tripura is concerned. But definitely, as I said, this makes the assembly polls, the run to the assembly polls, very, very interesting. And the moment, right after the results, parties' leaders have started to trade charges at each other. Sudeep Roy Burman has alleged the BJP of foul play in Patoli seat. Chief Minister Manik Saha has alleged that there has been an understanding between the CPM and Congress in the 2 seats somewhere. That, first of all, has impacted the results in the 6 Agartala and also reduced the margin of victory as far as his case is concerned in Town Botoli seat. So yes, we will see more of it. We will see more of it. But the opposition cannot really say profit this time. That's what observers are saying, that the elections have been rigged, because they themselves have expressed satisfaction over the way polls have been conducted. This time we had 100% webcasting and not many incidents of violence. Of course, we had that odd case of stabbing. Apart from that, there was not much of a violence. We can say even the opposition would have in a way indirectly accepted that the polls were free and fair, and that there were no complaints about the results. And of course, the BJP would be still satisfied with winning 3 out of the 4 seats. The Congress winning 1 only makes the battle in the run-up to the assembly polls more interesting.
Absolutely. It makes things all that more interesting. Navran Goswami, thank you very much for joining us and bringing us all of those latest updates. So viewers, once again, let me quickly apprise you of the latest coming out from the Tripura by-elections at this one time. It's now 2 against 1 for the BJP, as Jubarajnagar has also been won by the BJP's Malina Debnath. So another victory for the BJP. Now it stands at 2-1 for the BJP, with the Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman claiming victory from the 6th Agartala constituency. Now, let us once again listen in to what a victorious Sudeep Roy Burman had to say just moments back. Listen in.
If you introspect the result, these people were damn sure, based on muscle power, money power, and administrative or all these things, they were cocksure that they're going to win all the 4 assembly constituencies. And normally, it goes in favor of the ruling party. But for the first time, in the wildest dream, the voters of 6 Agartala Assembly constituency taught them a befitting lesson. And I believe this is the sentiment of the common people across the state. The voters and our workers, they breached all the barricades being created by the hoodlums. They went to the polling booth, casted, but in many places, they were obstructed and resulting in a less percentage of votes, 77. Normally, it happens to be in between 92-93%. The moral of this thing, what I want to say is, it's a reflection of the people anger. It's a reflection of the BJP's Jumla. It is a reflection of the people's mandate in the coming days. People are so frustrated and hopeless with this government that it will now give a spark to the rest of the assembly constituencies.
All right, on to the other big story coming in from the region. First an aerial survey and now a boat ride. Finally, walking in the waterlogged streets, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma is a man doing whatever it takes to solve people's misery in the deluged town of Silchar, which has been inundated for over a week now. Well, the Assam Chief Minister arrived in Silchar only 48 hours after he made his first visit to the flood-ravaged town. After undertaking an aerial survey, Chief Minister Sharma today could be seen wading through the waterlogged streets of the town on a raft boat. What used to be filled with vehicles today barely has even a single bicycle plying on the streets. Chief Minister Sharma could be seen reviewing the situation and also interacting with some of the people in distress. Take a look.
Slow.
And in fact, he even promised to visit the homes of a few of the residents and share a cup of tea once things come back to normal. However, a defining moment could be seen of the Chief Minister's visit when a medical student braced all odds to reach out to the Chief Minister and greet him with a traditional gamusa. He was later assisted by Chief Minister Sharma's security personnel as well. Take a look.
शर्ट आपका शर्ट फंसा हुआ है
Just one request, sir. Just bring our Mahasharak, sir. Mahasharak, sir.
Mahasarak, na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it will be done in 1 year.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I'm extremely sorry. Thank you very much. Silchar Engineering College, Medical College. I'll come sometime and have a cup of tea. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Sir, more boro danibo.
হ্যাঁ এটা 100% আমি আসবে নেক্সট টাইম যখন
Okay, sir.
শিলচরে আসবে
আপনি এটা কথা কম, স্যার।
হ্যাঁ
আপনি মানে ফার্স্ট ইয়ার শিক্ষারত। জি মানে ইমান ফ্রিকুয়েন্টলি শিক্ষারত আহিছে। We are thankful to you.
লাস্ট নেক্সট টাইম যখন আমি আবার শিলচর আসবে তখন আপনার বাড়িতে আসবো
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, we didn't come, sir.
আপনার ভালো স্যার
And it may be mentioned here that Silchar town is the worst affected area by floods. The visuals on your screens speak for themselves as they speak volumes about the grim reality for the residents of Silchar. Vehicles remain submerged for close to a week now, and the district administration is working round the clock to provide aid and relief to the residents.
আসবে ডিপিআর এর থেকে জল নামলে পেয়ে যাবেন একদিন অপেক্ষা করুন
নিয়ন্ত্রণ মানরে পানি পাইছে খাবলগীয়া পানি পাইছে ঠিক আছে সাইড
And Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma also held a key review meeting with the deputy commissioners just a short while back. Take a look.
মেডিচিন পুৰা আছে স্যার যোৱাকালি ওআৰএছ অলপ কম আছিলে যোৱাকালি 1,95,000 পেকেট চাপা আহি পাইছে
কালিৰ পৰা অলপ অলপ মেডিকেল কেম্প পানী শুকোৱা জাগাত ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিব লাগিব ৱাৰ্ডবিলাক
ৱাৰ্ড ৱাইজ আমি কৰি ল'ম
ডাক্তৰ যাব মানুহক মেডিচিন বা দি আছে হেল্থ চেকআপ কৰিব এইবিলাক জাগাত পানী শুকাই আছে শুকোৱাৰ পিছতে বেমাৰ লাগে মানুহ হস্পিটেলত বেমাৰ লগাৰ পিছত যাব গতিকে আগতে আপোনালোক যাব পাৰেছ কিমান আছে
এতিয়া স্যার যোৱাকালি আহিছে 1,95,000 আগৰ 40,000 আছিলে এটা হৈ যাব স্যার
লাগিলে লগে লগে ৰিকুৱেশ্যন দি দিব মই গৰাকৰ কাৰণে কোনো প্ৰব্লেম নাই বুলি কৈ দিছোঁ গতিকে আপোনালোকে লৈ লওক
ঠিক আছে বাকি মেডিচিন দিলে ঠিকই আছে
ভেটেনাৰী কি অৱস্থা আছে মেডিচিন আছে নে নাই
আমি ইয়াৰো ডিস্ট্ৰিবিউচনটো আমাৰ কৰিব কাৰণে
কিমান আছে এনিমেল ফিড কিমান আছে আপোনাৰ
এনিমেল ফিড বৰ্তমান 270
अभी 4,000 एमटी ये हमारा सब जो ऑफिसर है 10 वार्ड का ऊपर एक ऑफिसर ऐसे गांव का पंचायत का पूरा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दिया कि ये लोग का अंदर में रिलीफ कुछ ना कुछ हर घर में पहुंच इसका व्यवस्था करो अगर पैकेट करना मुश्किल है तो कोई लोग होगा जो बैग में ले जाके डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दे तो ऐसे थोड़ा लोगों को इन्वॉल्व करके सब घर में कुछ ना कुछ जाओ और गाँव मेडिकल कैंप केटा करो काली दिन तो प्लान करो परोखी मेडिकल कैंप
And meanwhile, Chief Minister Sharma said that he will be revisiting Silchar soon to assess the situation further. Addressing the media, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma informed that the government is reaching out to all the affected areas and relentless rescue operations will continue.
So, 2 দিনৰ ভিতৰত 2 দিন আগতো গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ কনফিডেন্স লেভেলটো বহুত তলত আছিল কাৰণ কোনেও কতো যাব পৰা নাছিল আৰু সকলোৱে ডিস্টেন্স কল পাই আছিলে 2 দিন আগত মই ইয়াত আহোতে ডিস্টেন্স কল was almost 1200 per day. Today the distress call is 400 আৰু লাহে লাহে যিবিলাক ডিস্ট্ৰেছ আছিলে সেইবিলাক এড্ৰেছ কৰা হৈছে কিদিনাখন মই যোৱাৰ পিছত আৰ্মিৰ বহুত কেইটা কলাম নতুনকৈ আহিলে আৰু এনডিআৰএফৰো ভুৱনেশ্বৰ পৰা আৰু অফিচাৰ আহিলে নাও এটলিষ্ট এভৰিৱেৰ মানুহ যাব পাৰিছে আৰু আমাৰ লোকেল কিদিনাখন মই যাওঁতে আমাৰ লোকেল এনজিঅ' আৰু লোকেল ক্লাবছ দুৰ্গা পূজা কমিটি সকলোকে ইনভলভ কৰি কমিটি কৰিব কৈ গৈছিলোঁ চ' দ'জ civil society groups are also now functioning. আৰু এটলিষ্ট মই মানুহক সোধোতে পৰ্যাপ্ত পৰিমাণেও নাপালেও সকলোৱে কৈছে যে য়েছ উই ৰিচিভ চাৰ্টেন থিংছ চ' কনফিডেন্স লেভেলটো বাঢ়ি যোৱাৰ লগে লগে মই ভাবোঁ যে আজিৰ পৰা আৰু অলপ বেছিকৈ আমি কাম কৰিব পাৰিম চাওক বাইলেণ্ডত NDRFৰ যাব নোৱাৰে কাৰণ বাইলেণ্ডত ইয়াত টিং আছে অলৰেডি দে লষ্ট 3 boats যদি বাইলেনত সোমাই দিয়ে আৰু বাইলেনৰ লগে লগে ইয়াৰ প্ৰত্যেকটো বাইলেনত এটা এটা ড্ৰেইন আছে সব ভৰি দি পানী তলত আপুনি আন্দাজ কৰিব নোৱাৰিব ড্ৰেইনটো ক'ত আছে সেইকাৰণে আমি কৰিছোঁ কি বাইলেনৰ সন্মুখলৈকে বস্তু লৈ গৈ তাৰ পৰা লোকেল যিজন মানুহে জিঅ'গ্ৰাফিটো বুজি পায় যে কোনফালে ড্ৰেইনটো ৰাইটত আছে লেফ্টত আছে তেওঁ লৈ লৈ সোমাইছে আৰু মই এতিয়া সেইটোকে কৰিব কৈছোঁ যে য'ত পানী শুকাইছেতো ইউ কেন গ' কিন্তু য'ত একেবাৰে ডিঙিলৈকে আছে তাতে গলিৰ ভিতৰত আৰ্মি বা NDRF সোমোৱাটো ইমান ইজি নহয় তাত সোমাব লাগিব দ্য পিপল উইথ লোকেল নলেজ গতিকে মই তেনেকুৱা মানুহক গাইড হিচাপে ল'বৰ কাৰণে আৰ্মি NDRFক কৈছোঁ
And citing that the floods are man-made, the Assam Chief Minister said that the current situation must be taken as a lesson for all. He further added that a probe will be initiated to check if there were any loopholes in the construction of the embankment which collapsed in the floods. Chief Minister Sharma said that anyone found guilty will have to face the law.
এতিয়া ঘটনাটো এইটোৱে যে এইবাৰ যিটো শিলচৰত ঘটনা হ'ল ইট ইজ মোষ্টলি মেন মেড আৰু বেটুকান্দিত যদি আমি মথাউৰিটো ভাঙি নিদিলোহেঁতেন হুএভাৰ এই ঘটনাটো নহ'লহেঁতেন চ' দিছ ইজ এ বিগ লেচন ফৰ অল অফ আছ চ' নেক্সট টাইমৰ পৰা উই হেভ টু পুট পুলিচ এণ্ড আদাৰ পিপল ইন দ্য এম্বেকমেণ্ট ইটছেল্ফ চ' ডেট এইটো কোনেও যাতে ভাঙি দিব নোৱাৰে মই এটা কেছ ৰেজিষ্টাৰ কৰিব দিছোঁ দিছ থিং উইল ইনকুৱায়াৰ আৰু যোনে মথাউৰিটো ভাঙিছিল দে হেভ টু ফেচ ল আৰু আমাৰ যদি কিবা অফিচিয়েল লেভেলত কিবা তাত প্ৰব্লেম আছিলে or they did not act swiftly, obviously this inquiry will also take care of their lapses. Second কথাটো হ'ল যে সিদিনাখন যেতিয়া DDM এৰ পৰা ইয়াত এডভাইজাৰী দিয়া হ'ল people did not take it, many people did not take it seriously কাৰণ মানুহে এনেকুৱা ফ্লাড আগত কেতিয়াও দেখা নাই আৰু মানুহে বিলিভো কৰা নাই যে ইমান ফ্লাড আহিব চ' মই ভাবোঁ যে ফিউচাৰত মানুহে যিহেতু এবাৰ বুজি পালে so they will also become little bit resilient কিন্তু গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ পৰা যিখিনি ডেমেজ আমি ঘৰ বা আন যিখিনি ডেমেজ হৈছে যিমান পাৰোঁ উইল ট্ৰাই টু হেল্প
And if we look at the overall flood scenario, then there has been a slight improvement in the situation in Assam, with the number of affected districts coming down to 27. However, over 25 lakh people still remain affected, even as the situation in Barak Valley continues to be critical. Over 2,65,000 are still taking shelter in relief camps. On the other hand, 4 people have died in the last 24 hours in flood-related incidents. And with that, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. Stay tuned to Northeast Live for more news and updates. Thank you for watching.
East Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed